Part 4. Amnesiac. Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 31. Wen Qiao walked behind Wen Qi with one hand on her hip. You're 15 years old, everything depends on your self-awareness. Have you finished your homework? Just play games. Wen Qi held half a banana in his mouth. It's finished. Wen Qiao picked up his math test paper, glanced at it casually, and became furious. Wen Qi obviously didn't care about his homework. ABCD was filled out blindly with his eyes closed, and 8 out of 10 could be wrong. Rewrite it, and be more serious to me. Wen Qi was full of reluctance. I'm not material for studying. It's a waste of time for you to force me to study like this. Xiaobo and I have agreed that after the 9-year compulsory education is over, I will go to make money. What do you make money from? Wen Qi calmed down his idle look, join the club and become a full-time esports player. Ding Hai, you know, his uncle runs the club. Their team has been in the top 3 in the world, but it's a little bit down now. We plan to join the team, revive his uncle's club. When the teenager talked about his dream, his eyes were shining brightly. This actually made Wen Qiao start to re-examine Wen Qi in his previous life. Because he refused to go to high school, he hurt his mother's heart, and his relationship with his family was very tense. In the end, he even ran away from home and stopped contacting him. He has been secretly paying attention to the situation of his family members, and he will fight when Mo is bullied. Now it seems that if he is really not interested in studying, maybe the road of games is not impossible to develop. All roads lead to Rome. You are playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, right? Is the level okay? Under normal circumstances, in the Grandmaster Bureau, 10 kills are safe. Su Yun frowned. Study is the most important thing, you kid, don't think about playing games all day long. After when Mo finished drinking the pear juice, Su Yun took the bowl and went to the kitchen. Wen Qiao whispered, I support you in joining the club, but you have to ensure that your studies will not be affected too much. You must go to university, is that okay? Deal? Hey, who is that man today? See how cowardly you are in front of him. Wen Qiao raised his hand to let him experience the beatings from the society, and Wen Qi made a gesture to call his mother. Wen Qiao immediately faltered, and whispered, that's my boyfriend, but don't tell mom. Maybe she can leave Funanli after she finds a new way to survive, so it's better not to disturb her mother yet. Wen Mo showed a surprised face. Wen Qi, who is he? What does he do? How old is he? Check account, you. Xiaobo said his car is quite expensive. I don't understand that stuff either. I'm afraid you'll be fooled by someone. Alright, I have a sense of propriety, and I'll slip my tongue in front of mother. After speaking, Wen Qiao raised her hand again. Wen Qi was furious and unable to fight. You know how to threaten me. The school bully's dignity was repeatedly trampled on, and he refused to accept it. But because he couldn't beat him, he could only hold back if he refused to accept it. After Wen Qiao was reborn, there were many ways to make money. First of all, she could compose music. She lived to be 24 in her previous life, so she knew which company valued talent and copyright and developed well. She chose Haimao Records. In her previous life, all the songs she composed freely were taken over by the bar owner and put into the record company. Even if the song became popular later, the dog boss could still collect a fixed 6-figure copyright fee every month. In terms of income, he made a lot of money, but he didn't get anything. In this life, she will naturally plan for herself first. She first wrote a piece of music, then compiled a demo using the Logic software in the computer and a MIDI keyboard, and sent it to the music director of Haimao Records. She knew that the music director of Haimao would be very interested in this piece. Even if she can make money on her own, She must get back what Wen Jianmin owed her. A scumbag who abandoned his wife and son cannot be allowed to live a good life with peace of mind. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 32. After sending the email, I saw a hot search on Weibo #SY won the world-class internet competition again Wen Jiao clicked on the video of winning the internet competition, and saw that Psy's profile picture was a black yuzu flower Galilee. Eucalyptus leaf, the language of flowers is a gift. This masturbation seems to be very low-key. After winning the championship, he has never been out, nor has he opened Weibo. When Xiao raised her eyebrows, it had nothing to do with her. She opened the mailbox. I received an inexplicable email in my mailbox, all in English, from Mr. Vincent, a world-class pianist, saying that his world tour concert will be held in Haikan on July 9, and she is sincerely invited to come to the same stage play. When Xiao tooted lightly, there are so many scammers nowadays, she just closed the email and ignored it. It was still raining outside the window. She got up and walked to Wen Qi and Wen Mo's room opposite. Wen Qi was rewriting the test paper, and Wen Mo was playing Minesweeper on the desktop. Wen Xiao walked over, leaned against the table, and turned her head to look at her younger brother. Xiao Mo, are our computers and mobile phones really all drawn by you? Wen Mo looked at her with clear eyes and nodded. They all retweeted Weibo and won prizes. Wen Mo nodded again. Where's the Weibo you forwarded? Show me. Wen Mo obediently took out his mobile phone, clicked on his homepage, entered the word lottery, screened it, and a few microblogs popped up. Sure enough, they were all lottery blogs forwarded by him, and there was a record of winning prizes. Private message to ask he wants the address to deliver the prize. Maybe her brother really has a koi physique. Wen Xiao smiled, what's wrong with Ziokai, you can give me some guidance, huh? Wen Mo still nodded obediently. In the window seat of the cafe, Sulu and Zhao Tong sat facing each other. Zhao Tong, I heard that Zhuang Yan's $1 million violin was broken by him. The web of the soundboard was cracked. It is probably going to be scrapped. Didn't his father buy it for him at Sotheby's auction house? He has always cherished it very much. How could it be so good? Zhao Tong was a little proud. I heard that Wen Xiao made him angry. Sulu, however, is like facing an enemy. Only love can bring hatred. Wen Xiao's involvement in Zhuang Yan's emotions to such a large extent, does it also mean that Zhuang Yan cares about Wen Xiao deeply in his heart? Distraught, she took 2 sips of coffee. Oh, by the way, on July 9, Master Vincent's Haikan tour, my dad gave me 2 VIP tickets. Let's go to see it together, and after the end, we can go to the backstage to take a photo with the master. Only then did Sulu forcefully smile. Okay. Zhao Tong said contemptuously, those who play the pipa and gukan, and those who play the erhu, can only form a team and appear at weddings and funerals, huh? The corner of Sulu's mouth finally showed a superior smile again. That's right, even if Wen Xiao successfully entered Yanjian, frankly speaking, folk music is still at the bottom of the food chain, so what can she change by herself? Fu Nanli's ability to recover is amazing. After staying in the hospital for 2 days, he asked to be discharged. Uncle Li knew this master's temper. If he said he would be discharged from the hospital, he would be discharged. Anyway, there is a family doctor at home. While packing up his things, he said, Madam, that is your mother, is now in Zurich. Regarding business matters, your grandfather has always complained about you as the captain. The old man has a bad temper. Return after you get home, you go to say hello first, and I didn't tell him about the car accident, so as not to worry the old man. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 33. Fu Nanli buttoned the last button of his collar, straightened his cuffs, and went out. Uncle Li was worried, wondering if this wayward master had listened. After leaving the ward, he handed over the suitcase to the bodyguard, and he hurriedly followed behind the tall young master with long legs. The senior officials of the hospital personally sent them to the car. Linhai Villa, the car passed through the long tree-lined path, entered the gate, and drove along the mountain road for another 10 minutes. During this time, Uncle Li kept giving him popular science about his life experience. Master, you have studied in a European noble school since you were a child, and your university is MIT. You are proficient in English, French and German. The car stopped at the gate of the villa. Got it, he said calmly. With a light wind and drizzle, Uncle Li got out of the car and opened a big black umbrella to cover his young master from the rain. Fu Nanli walked quickly, and entered the corridor in 2 or 3 steps. The shoulder line was stained with rain, and he didn't mind dusting it off with his fingers. Dust. The old man seemed to have just returned from playing golf in the backyard. He took off his raincoat, and a servant took it over and handed him a dry towel. Fu Huaiyang wiped his gray hair and threw the towel to the servant beside him. Seeing Fu Nanli, he felt complicated. Fu Nanli stepped forward and called Grandpa. Fu Huaiyang took a deep breath and said, "Your grandfather's last words were to let you become a pilot, so you just listened to him. Does that mean that your grandfather also died and left a last word for you to take over Tianhuan, so you can listen to me?" The atmosphere was a bit dignified, and Uncle Li didn't dare to say a word. The eternal topic of the grandfather and grandson is, when will you inherit my company? For Grandpa and Grandpa, you should be level with a bowl of water. The difference between me and your grandfather is that one is dead and the other is still alive. Do you have to die too, so that you can obey my last wish? On the way, Uncle Li and him popularized some science. I promised you that when the flight mileage reaches 10 million kilometers, you will return to Tianhuan. Fu Huaiyang clicked his tongue softly, and the atmosphere was freezing. Uncle Li smoothed things over and said, "Master, once you fly to Munich, the round trip is almost 20,000 kilometers. If you fly twice a week, it's 2 million kilometers a year. It's been 4 years. I reckon that if you fly another year, it will be full." Fu Huaiyang sighed, "Do you know that your uncles and cousins in the collateral line of the Fu family are all ambitious, and you are still wasting time in the airline company? Are you really afraid that the company will be taken away by the ambitious collateral? With Mrs. Fu, a strong woman, in charge, it shouldn't be so easy to be snatched away by others." These were also popularized by Uncle Li to him. Mr. Fu wanted to say something else. Fu Nanli said, "Sorry, I'm a little tired, I want to go up and rest for a while." In this huge family, only this master dared to treat him like this. Looking at Fu Nanli's unruly back, Mr. Fu was angry and reluctant to lose his temper with him. Who told him that his only son died early, and there was only such a grandson left? Uncle Li hurried up to Porti. "Master, does this mean that he keeps his promise? Since he promised his grandfather to fly 10 million kilometers to complete it with such conscientiousness, then, after he promises to you, he will enter Tianhuan. I will definitely not break my promise and just wait another year. Mr. Fu has a lot of thoughts. I don't know if it's an illusion, but I always feel that the collateral has been acting frequently recently. I'm old, so I can only pin my hopes on him." Wen Qiao braved the rain all day and went to the hospital again. She felt that as a girlfriend, she had done a very dedicated job, and she was told by the nurse that Mr. Fu has been discharged. Wen Qiao. "All right, let's pretend to be sentimental," and he didn't even notify her when he was discharged from the hospital. Carrying an umbrella, he was about to walk towards the elevator room. When he passed the emergency exit, he heard Fu Nanli's name being mentioned in the corridor. Well, Fu Nanli is not dead. Thank you for your support, bow down. Continue to ask for recommendation tickets, thank you. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 34. Through the crack in the door, Wen Qiao saw a man in a black shirt, with his back to her, talking on the phone. The man was holding a mobile phone in one hand, and a cigarette in the other. Letter tattoo on forearm for men. Just as she was about to take a closer look, the man in the black shirt turned around. Wen Qiao gasped for breath, quickly dodged and ran away. Wen Qiao sat in the lobby of the inpatient department for a long time, but he didn't see a man of roughly the same size. He should have parked his car in the underground garage and left directly from the underground garage. Fu Nanli is not dead. When the man said this, it seemed that there was some regret in his tone. Wen Qiao looked a little dignified. Could it be that Fu Nanli's car accident was not an accident? That's right, the Fu family has a big business. Last night Lu Yuyu made a video call with her and yelled and told her, the market value of the Fu family's property is hundreds of billions. You will be a young lady with hundreds of billions in the future. My Zhou, you are promising, and Dad will follow you to flying Huangtenda. I also heard that although Fu Nanli is the sole heir of the Fu family, there are many collateral brothers in the Fu family and their relationship is complicated. Everyone should want a piece of Tianhuan's big cake. The phone vibrated. It was her special lawyer, Lu Xiangbo, the Lu family's queen lawyer. Miss Wen, the court summons has been issued. I would like to ask where you plan to send it? Send it to Mr. Wen Jianmin, number 4333 Huihei Road. Please emphasize to the receptionist that it is his daughter's court subpoena urging for child support. The voice should be louder. It is best to deliver it during the morning rush hour. DA. Meet your needs. Wen Qiao happily hung up the phone. After leaving the inpatient department, she waited for the number 98 bus at the bus stop next to Xiangjiang Trail, sat for half an hour, and got off at Shuiying Road. The bluestone road in the alley was washed bright by the rain, and Wen Qiao returned home with a transparent umbrella. Wen Qi and Xiaobai were playing games with headphones on, while Wen Mo sat on the sofa and read comic books. Wen Qi and Xiaobo yelled loudly, northeast direction, airdrop, there are cars, be careful, full crew. Playing wild in your father's territory, what the hell? You idiot, dare to bump into Dad's car, knowing that Dad's car is out of gas, why not send the car to Dad? One mouthful and one father. Wen Qiao rolled his eyes and asked Wen Mo, has he finished his homework? Wen Mo nodded. Have you checked? Wen Mojin pulled his slippers back to the room and took 2 test papers, physics and chemistry, and he put the test papers in front of his sister. Wen Qiao saw marks of corrections on it. Have you checked everything? Wen Mo nodded sincerely. Then did you tell him where he got it wrong? Wen Mo picked up a draft notebook with corrections on wrong questions. It could be seen that it was Wen Kai's notes. Wen Qiao felt relieved and rubbed Wen Mo's head. Let's read a comic book. Wen Qiao entered her room. Her room was small, and she slapped her hand quickly. There was a bed, a wardrobe, and a desk. It was hard for 2 people to move around in it. She sat at the desk and made a video call to Fu Nanli. In less than 2 seconds, it was picked up over there, and suddenly a magnified handsome face appeared on the screen, and Wen Qiao's heart skipped a beat. He was wearing a black nightgown, and there was a whole wine cabinet behind him. While taking a bottle of wine, he added 2 ice cubes to the glass, and casually glanced at Wen Qiao. What's the matter? Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 35. Wen Qiao said seriously, I went to the hospital today, only to find out that you have been discharged. Well, I haven't had time to tell you yet. I met a very strange person in the hospital. Holding the transparent glass with his slender fingers, he took 2 sips of wine, and when he looked up, only his Adam's apple was left on the screen. Gudong, the Adam's apple was sliding up and down, and Wen Qiao felt his face was a little hot. The man gently put down the cup in his hand, and the luster of alcohol was still on his thin lips. How strange. He stood in the corridor and said, Fu Nanli is not dead. I wanted to listen carefully at that time, but he turned around. I was afraid of being discovered by him, so I slipped away. Fu Nanli frowned, as if analyzing her words. Oh, by the way, he has a letter tattoo on the inside of his right forearm. It's about 4 or 5 letters long. I can't see what the text is. Do you know anyone like this? Fu Nanli lowered his eyes slightly and frowned. Wen Qiao thought, she really asked too much, he has lost his memory, how can he remember this? No matter what, you must be careful, and take bodyguards with you wherever you go in the future. The sound of fighting and killing came from outside the door. Shrink the circle, run quickly, cover me, I'll go straight up and kill someone, there should be 2 on the 2nd floor, they've been hanging around. Okay, brother Qi, I'm throwing mine outside, you go in. Hey, where the hell are you throwing it? You're going to blow me up, aren't you? I made a mistake, brother Qi, I'm here to save you, don't move. Hurry up, I heard footsteps, don't save people first, kill people first. Fu Nanli looked at her, what's the sound? Wen Qiao. It's not my second brother. My brother is playing games, so I won't tell you. Just remember what I said just now. After hanging up the phone over there, Fu Nanli buckled the phone on the glazed table, and Uncle Li came in with a bronzing envelope and put it next to the phone. Your father's old friend, Mr. Vincent, will hold a concert on the Jasmine cruise ship on the 9th. This is an invitation letter specially sent by Mr. Vincent to invite you to watch it. Fu Nanli nodded, but did not respond. Will the young master go? Your father had a good friendship with this Mr. Vincent when he was alive. Let's talk. The tone seemed to lack interest. Wen Qiao wanted to do an experiment. After being reborn, the words "you must stay by Fu Nanli's side, or your life will be in danger" lingered in her mind, whether it was true or not. It's better to be fake, so she doesn't have to talk nonsense all day long. If misfortune is true, then, what is the maximum ceiling for leaving him? I haven't seen Fu Nanli for a day, she is completely fine. 2 days, still fine. On the 6th day, Fu Nanli invited her out for dinner. She falsely told that she and Lu Yuyu had gone to the summer camp and were not in Haikan. Mr. Fu was not a troublesome person, so she didn't say much. Wen Qiao felt nothing unusual about her body. Lu Yuyu asked her to eat dessert in the afternoon, and she gladly went to the appointment. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at the window seat of the dessert shop, Wen Qiao, who had been dressed up by Lu Yuyu, was wearing a blue and white sailor suit and a woven straw hat, digging into the vanilla-flavored ice cream in his hand. A black Bentley slowly passed by the floor-to-ceiling windows. The red light ahead, the car stopped, Fu Nanli turned his head, and saw her, like a doll in the window, with an innocent and bright smile, so beautiful that anyone who walked by couldn't help but take a second look. Summer Camp. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 36. Uncle Li saw from the rearview mirror that the young master who had been in a bad mood behind him seemed to be even colder again. The noon meal was with his grandfather, and those uncles and elders all brought their daughters to the appointment for a meal, and 3 or 5 women came to him, making his face more and more ugly. After finally ending the boring and lengthy meal, my face was relieved. Why now? Following his line of sight, he saw the kid who claimed to be the young master's girlfriend. Uncle Lee cautiously probed, "Master, do you want to get out of the car and say hello?" Fu Nanli withdrew his gaze, "No need." His expression was cold, and the corners of his mouth were slightly curled down, obviously not very happy. The mobile phone placed on the round table vibrated. Seeing the caller ID on it, Wen Qiao felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy. He took a deep breath and answered the phone, "Hello." The voice is soft and sweet. "Where did you attend summer camp?" "South, the city in the south, Xiangcheng, do you know? There are mountains and rivers, and there are crews filming TV dramas here. Just now, Lu Yuyu and I saw 2 stars. Lu Yuyu, who was cued inexplicably. Through the dark car window, Fu Nanli reached out and tugged at the tie. The veins on the back of his hand were slightly protruding, and his temples throbbed with pain. "Really?" Wen Qiao put the phone farther away. "In the mountains, the signal is not very good. I won't talk to you too much, I'm going to hang up." Pat hung up the phone. When the green light ahead turned on, the driver asked softly, "Master, do you want to go?" "Let's go." A well-cultivated person like him would not expose her lies. He waited for her to confess to him on her own initiative. Uncle Lee took a meaningful look at the little girl sitting in the dessert shop, and then at the livid-faced man in the back seat, wondering if there was any conflict between the two of them. Wen Qiao breathed a sigh of relief, and patted her chest. "When I meet Fu Nanli in the future, don't tell me you're cheating, we're going to Xiangcheng summer camp these days." Lu Yuyu was puzzled, "Why are you lying?" Wen Qiao's voice was muffled, "I'm doing an experiment, to see if the words in my mind are real or my hallucination, and to see if I can leave him." Lu Yuyu was even more puzzled. "Master Fu already believed that you were his girlfriend, yet you still tried your best to leave him. My Zhou, don't you know that there is no reason for a famous lady in Haikan to want to be his girlfriend? Are you racking your brains?" Wen Qiao lowered her eyes, "I'm tired of lying every day. If something happens to the east window, I will testify for you. You have no choice but to save your life." Wen Qiao, such an absurd statement, do you think he can accept it? Lu Yuyu hesitated, unable to answer the question. Wen Qiao was safe and sound for 6 days, and another 6 days later, there was still no abnormality in his body, and he was alive and well. After practicing with Wen Qi, he was still able to throw him over the shoulder with ease. Wen Qiao felt that it must be his hallucination. There was a knock on the door, and Wen Qiao looked up, and saw a blond man standing outside her yard, speaking fluent Chinese. "Excuse me, is this Miss Wen?" Wen Qi, who was thrown over his shoulder and lying on the ground, struggled to get up, and gave his sister a sad look. "Why did you hit me so well?" Wen Qiao comforted him perfunctorily, "It's just itchy hands." "Wen Qi." Wen Qiao asked the foreign man at the door, "Who are you? Is there something wrong?" The man is in his 40s, elegant and easygoing. "I am Vincent, and I would like to invite Miss Wen to play with me on the same stage. I have always been very interested in your folk music. I sent you an email before. I didn't know you did. You get it?" Wen Qiao. "Oh, so it wasn't a spam email from a scammer. Guess, will Miss Qiao run into young Master Fu at the cruise ship concert? Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me." Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 37. On July 9, a 10-story cruise ship was parked at the port on the east coast of Haikan. At 6:30 p.m., the cruise ship was brightly lit, and the red carpet went straight to the revolving door with golden Roman columns. The smell of money in Vanity Fair was everywhere. "I rehearsed with that Mr. Vincent all day yesterday, and finally achieved a fusion of Chinese and Western music. Today they played Butterfly Lovers and Jasmine Flower together. He heard that he saw the video of her participating in the interview of Yanjian, and was very shocked. Then he found the school of 9th middle school and asked for her email. Wen Qiao was wearing a little black dress, and Lu Yuyu, who was carrying a piano bag, looked like a little assistant. He was very satisfied with his masterpiece. Our Qiao has reached a new height of beauty today. Wen Qiao hooked Lu Yuyu's arm, looked at the two people beside the revolving door, and raised her eyebrows. Look. While talking, the two had already walked to the golden Roman column. Zhao Tong crossed his arms and snorted lightly. I thought I was wrong, so it's really the two of you? What are you doing here? Are you watching a show? The arrival of the two really lowered the standard of the entire audience. Watching the show? Why are you still carrying a piano bag? What? You still want to provoke a world-class piano master? Don't be ashamed. Wen Qiao. How can this man be so eloquent? She opened her lips, and was about to explain, so that Zhao Tong wouldn't look too stupid if she said too much. Zhao Tong started chattering again. Which row is the ticket? It's too far back to see the master's demeanor. The VIP ticket for me and Lulu is the first row. I'll dictate to you after reading it. Let's take a look at how exciting the concert is. Lu Yuyu, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Arjo didn't come to see the performance today. Arjo came to play with Mr. Vincent today. Sulu froze for a moment, clenched the handbag in her hand. The smile on her face was a little stiff. Ensemble with Monsieur Vincent? These two people really dare to lust. Zhao Tong sneered, playing with Mr. Vincent? Lu Yuyu, there must be a limit to bragging, okay. She. Wen Qiao. She also deserves it? Not to mention that your status in folk music is not very good, in terms of grades alone. Wen Qiao has something. Have you ever won an international award? Has it been recognized by any professional organization? We Lulu have won so many awards and dare not say that kind of big talk. You. Wen Qiao took out an invitation letter slowly and held it out to Zhao Tong. Lu Yuyu was a little embarrassed. Do you know Chinese? It's in both Chinese and English. Do you need me to read it to you again? Sulu's whole heart was trembling, and she couldn't restrain her emotions. She could only tightly clench the bag in her hand, and her fingers were scratched by herself. Zhao Tong couldn't believe it. After accepting the invitation, the arrogance just now became a complete joke. Wen Qiao added another sentence to add insult to injury. You don't need to dictate to me, I should feel more real than you when I am on stage. Miss Zhao was so angry that her face turned livid, and she threw the invitation letter to Wen Qiao. I think this Vincent's aesthetic vision is nothing more than that. I want to take off my fan. Wen Qiao sneered, taking off fans is like withdrawing capital, there is no need to announce it, no one will care. Zhao Tong was irritable. Wen Qiao, what are you crazy about? Lu Yuyu raised her eyebrows. We, Qiao, have a capital madness. If you are not convinced, then hold back. On the red carpet, Zhuang Yan and his mother came together. Sulu grabbed Zhao Tong and said in a low voice, Tong, forget it, maybe the school wants to promote folk music, so this cooperation was facilitated. Wen Qiao and Lu Yuyu had already entered the revolving door and boarded the gangway. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 38. Zhao Tong gritted his teeth. It must have been forced in. Mr. Vincent might dislike her. What are you talking about? Zhuang Yan hurriedly walked past the two without even saying hello to Sulu. Through the revolving door, Sulu saw that Zhuang Yan seemed to be about to catch up with Wen Qiao. His expression darkened even more. She always felt that there was no need for her to be jealous of Wen Qiao. She is also beautiful and intelligent, with a good personality and popularity. Even Wen Qiao's biological father loves her more than Wen Qiao. She lives a wealthy and generous life as a young lady, and everyone envies her. There's really no need for her to be jealous of Wen Qiao. But when Zhuangyan saw no one else in his eyes and only followed Wen Qiao's footsteps, all the masks and camouflage completely collapsed at that moment. The jealousy that was suppressed deep in my heart exploded in an instant. She didn't like Wen Qiao. Wen Qiao should stay in her poor world honestly and not come here to destroy their already balanced relationship. Like dominoes, Wen Qiao's changes alone will lead to the collapse of her whole world. She hated such surprises. Mrs. Chuan came over with her handbag, greeted Zhao Tong, and smiled politely at Sulu. Sulu thought of the madam's disdain for her behind her back, and felt unwilling and resentful, but she could only smile cutely on her face. The three entered the cruise ship together. Sulu spoke first. I was almost late today. Zhao Tong, why? Because Wen Qiao's younger brother had a mental illness, I went over there to have a look. Chuang was too sensitive to catch a few words. Psycho. Sulu said softly, well, her two younger brothers, one has autism and the other has mania, and the attacks are very scary. I heard that the disease is carried in the genes, so I feel helpless. Mrs. Chuang's expression was a bit exciting. It turned out to be like this. Zhao Tong was angry. You still go to see them? You are too kind. Wen Qiao doesn't treat you like a family member. Sulu took her hand. Don't say that, Uncle Wen is good to me. After all, they are Uncle Wen's children, and I want to help them as much as I can. Mrs. Chuang looked at her appreciatively. You are really a kind and good boy. Sulu smiled. Wen Qiao followed Lu Yuyu into the atrium, and lamented how luxurious the cruise ship was. It was not like being on a ship at all. The shadow of the crystal chandelier directly above the atrium flowed like a stream of light, pouring down on the ground. The two entered the elevator, and when the door was about to close, a hand stretched in. Wait a moment. It was Zhuangyan who came in. Wen Qiao leaned against the transparent glass of the elevator, and glanced at him indifferently, without any expression. They came earlier, and there were only 5 or 6 people in the elevator. It was very empty, no one spoke, and the atmosphere was once awkward. You. Zhuang Gong opened his mouth, and the Mercedes-Benz Cultural Center on the 4th floor had already arrived. Wen Qiao and Lu Yuyu walked out indifferently, not intending to talk to him at all. Wen Qiao had changed. She was no longer the girl who only followed him. As soon as Wen Qiao stepped out of the elevator, she was startled when she saw the man passing by in front of her. She instinctively turned around and wanted to get back into the elevator. The wrist was grabbed by the man. Wen Qiao, why are you running? There was sullenness in the man's voice. It's Fu Nanli. He seemed to have come up with her from the elevator next door. What is Wen Qiao running? Today is the 13th day of the experiment. If Fu Nanli is not seen for 13 days, what will happen to her body? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me. The boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 39. His sudden appearance disrupted her plan, and all previous efforts were wasted. She had to start the experiment again, and she might have to lie again. Of course she wanted to escape. She turned around and looked at Fu Nanli with a guilty conscience. No. Didn't run away. Fu Nanli took a look at the boy behind her. Uncle Li showed him Zhuangyan's photo, and he recognized him as the male classmate Wen Qiao had chased after. His eyes became gloomy. He pinched Wen Qiao's wrist with red marks, and she whispered, "It hurts." Fu Nanli dragged her to the atrium. Zhuangyan wanted to follow, but was stopped by one of the bodyguards. "Sorry, our young master doesn't want to be disturbed. The elevator door on the opposite side opened, and Mrs. Chuan came out. Seeing that Chuan Yan was arguing with someone, she quickly grabbed Chuan Yan, glanced at Wen Qiao who was being dragged away by the tall man, and whispered, "The concert will start soon. Let's get in quickly." A girl with a family history of mental illness, no matter how good she is not worthy of her family, Chuan Yan. Wen Qiao, forget it. Beside the flower bed behind the bar in the atrium rest area, there was the sound of gurgling water, and Wen Qiao carefully looked at the gloomy man in front of him. "See why I ran away? I'm afraid you'll misunderstand my relationship with Chuan Yan without an explanation. This master will definitely not let her go today." "So you came with Chuan Yan?" Wen Qiao categorically denied it. "Of course not, I met Lu Yuyu at the gate of the cruise ship. I came here with Lu Yuyu. If you don't believe me, you can ask Yo-Yo." Lu Yuyu always claimed to be a real man with iron blood, but when she suddenly cued her, he said tremblingly, "Mr. Fu, the summer camp is real. Qiao and I really went to the summer camp." "Wen Qiao? Who asked you about summer camp? Self-destruct player? Lu Yuyu, how manly are you? Why did you get scared after seeing Fu Nanli?" Fu Nanli looked at Lu Yuyu. "Sorry, my girlfriend and I have some personal things to say, please avoid it." Wen Qiao's eyes widened, and she gave Lu Yuyu a wink to tell her not to leave her, but Lu Yuyu trotted, as if walking on limbo, and quickly disappeared. She simply obeyed Fu Nanli. "Tell me about summer camp." After waiting for 6 days, but she didn't take the initiative to confess, seeing him today, his first reaction was to run away. Fu Nanli's face turned livid. No matter how well educated a person is, it is inevitable that they will lose control of their emotions. The corner of Wen Qiao's mouth twitched, and she was about to speak. "Think about it before you talk." Wen Qiao looked up, and the light from the crystal lamp flooded his face, and she could also feel his hidden anger. Originally, she already regretted lying to him back then, and she wanted to get away. But now she felt that she seemed to have fallen into a huge swamp, and it was up to her to decide whether to get out or not. "I lied to you." "Which way?" He rubbed the inside of her wrist, his eyes drooping. "I didn't go to summer camp." "Why lie?" Wen Qiao is like a tightrope walker. Now that he has taken that step, he can only keep going. He can only use one lie to make up for another lie. Involuntarily. "I feel more and more guilty, more and more guilty. Because I always feel that our family backgrounds are not equal, I always feel that I am not good enough for you, and I am under a lot of pressure when I am with you." Fu Nanli's big hand slid from her straight shoulder line to her waist, and there was a perfect arc running under the fingertips. The girl is also in good shape. With a slight lift of his big hand, Wen Qiao was forced to press close to his chest, his heart beating soaring along with the adrenaline. This man is actually dangerous. She is frantically probing on the edge of danger. "Since you agreed to be my girlfriend, you should be responsible to me, and you shouldn't have such half-hearted thoughts of running away from me, did you hear me? Shushu, listen to me, you two are locked. I have to vote obediently today, and show my heart to you. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me." Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 40. Wen Qiao nodded obediently. "Yes, I see. I lost my memory in a car accident. You were the first person I saw when I woke up, and you were the one I trusted the most. Wen Qiao, don't lie to me again." His eyes were burning, and Wen Qiao's eyelids flickered, and he said bravely, "Okay, I won't lie to you again. She is like a scumbag who plays with other people's feelings. The day after tomorrow, I will return to work and fly to Munich, you and I will fly together." Wen Qiao, I. Seeing his expression, I immediately agreed, "Okay, okay." Have you ever flown with me before? No. What is the way we date? Just, in the park near my house. Don't lie. It's too difficult, it's really too difficult for her. He just hugged her like this, without further movement. Wen Qiao said cautiously, I'm here to play with Mr. Vincent, I'm going backstage to get ready first. Then he put his arms around her waist, together. Wen Qiao's psychological quality is very strong. Even though it was so thrilling before the concert, the performance in the concert was still at the level of an international Grand Prix. As for Zhao Tong's question that she has never won an award, it is because she is not as pushy as Su Lu, and has not signed up for any competitions. The last melodious Jasmine Flower was played, and the audience burst into thunderous applause. Vincent left the piano stand in a gentlemanly manner, walked up to Wen Qiao, stretched out his hand. Wen Qiao gracefully put it on his arm, walked to the center of the stage with him, and bowed to the curtain amidst the radiance. Fu Nanli's gaze seemed to be glued to her body, from the stage to the curtain call, she followed her everywhere. Su Lu, who was sitting in the first row, could especially see clearly that Mr. Vincent's appreciation for Wen Qiao was clear at a glance. She was just deceiving herself that Wen Qiao was stuffed into this performance. The only thing to be thankful for now is that Mrs. Zhuang no longer looks down on Wen Qiao. Wen Qiao's dream of returning to high society was shattered again. She gloated a little, that a vulgar girl like Wen Qiao was out of place in high society. The 18-line male star was also watching the performance in the first row, not far from their seats. A foreign staff member walked up to Fu Nanli, bowed his head and said in English, Mr. Fu, Mr. Vincent invites you to go backstage. Fu Nanli straightened his suit and passed by Su Lu and Zhao Tong. Zhao Tong said uncertainly, how did I hear him being called Mr. Fu? Fu. There are not many Fu surnames in Haikan. Could it be the young master from Tianhuan? The mysterious young master who works in the aviation industry. Su Lu shook her hand and dropped her bag on the ground with an unnatural expression, are you kidding me? Can Fu Nanli like Wen Qiao? Zhao Tong nodded, that's true. I heard that all the ladies who have met Fu Nanli want to be Mrs. Fu, but it's a pity that Mr. Fu is very picky, and none of them can catch his eyes. Someone like Wen Qiao is definitely not qualified to be in his eyes. Shall we go backstage to take a photo with Mr. Vincent? No, I think the performance of the last two folk music has ruined the quality of the whole concert. If it doesn't match, don't you lose your fans. She was used to Wen Qiao being ridiculed and discriminated against by everyone. She was too afraid to see the glowing Wen Qiao surrounded by others and praising her. Zhao Tong raised his chin, that's right, we don't care too much. If we go backstage, we might meet Wen Qiao who is a villain. Let's not look for that, and we will never watch Vincent's concert again. They went out together with the audience. However, her ears were filled with all kinds of compliments for Wen Qiao.